Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. It's Friday. It's Friday. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 1884. It's Finish It Friday. So, we haven't done one of these for a while, so I figured it was a good time to do one of these and visit back on those projects you were working on. How are they coming? Have you gotten some of the steps completed towards those projects? Have you finished any projects? I have taken on a whole new swell of projects, which are not going to come to fruition until sometime next year, but there's a lot of steps between here and there that have to be done. And I'm just getting started with putting the steps in place. Some people know what is happening and many others don't, and I'm not going to tell you right now. There are some people that still need to be informed before I can make anything public. But one of the I have to tell you, dogs are hilarious. You did come in the room. So anytime I need Seffi to do something, she does her version of it. For example, the other day I had to take measurements of how long she is and how tall she is. And so I asked her to stand up. I said, come on, Seffi, stand, and got the tape and had the tape measure ready to measure her from nose to where her tail joins her butt. Tip to tail. And so what does she? So I pull out the tape measure. I've got it, my little handy dandy tape measure, and I unfolded it and all out and pulled it all out and everything else. And I said, come on, stand. And I was getting her turned. And so what does she do? She just lays down on her side and just rolls over on her back, puts her feet up, as I say, belly scratch time. I'm like, no, I can't measure you that way. So in the end, I ended up having a treat in my hand while I held at the end of the tape measure and stuck that by her nose and tried to get it that way. So I got an approximate. And then I was trying to get the measurement on standing from ground to the tip of her ears, because her ears stand up. I have to measure to the top of her ears. And so what does she do? Flattens her ears. She was like, I'm having none of this. None of this. Oh, and then she decided to sit. So she sat with her ears flattened. And so I'm not even sure if it's the right measurements or not. But if anybody has any tips on how to measure your dog by yourself, I would absolutely love to know how to do that. But the measurements have been sent in to the people who needed them for the project that they're working on for Zephy. And oh my gosh. And I had to say, she's about this. She kept trying to sit, she kept trying to lay down or something while I was trying to do that. And then the height is about this. She kept trying to sit. And so she flattened her ears. And, I put in the, this is what I managed to get. And this is what she was doing at the time. So maybe they can make some allowances in there for her custom made stuff. I don't know. Oh, I forgot to measure around her chest. I have to go back and measure around her chest. I'm trying to get her some rainwear. And they needed to know all this information and stuff so they can get the right size. And I totally just remembered I forgot to measure her chest at the widest part so that we can make sure it fits that way as well. Because she hates getting wet. And whenever it's raining, she hates going out there. And when she's out walking, her ears are flat against her head and she's constantly shaking, trying to get the water off. But other times in the past when I've tried to put some rainwear on her, she doesn't want to do it. And I'm also trying to find booties that actually fit her feet, because I can get the length, but the width is always too wide because she has long, narrow feet. A lot of dogs have, if their feet are long, they're also very wide. Not in Zephy's case. She is long and narrow. So trying to get booties to fit her and not have seams on the inside that will rub against her legs and stuff. It's a bit of a challenge on that one. So getting measurements on her. If anybody knows how to measure a dog when you are by yourself and do it successfully, I would greatly appreciate some advice on that one, please. I want to make sure that her rainwear fits her and that her little booties fit her properly too. Because trying to measure her feet, she doesn't like her paws being touched, especially if you bring a tape measure anywhere near them. Nope, doesn't want anything to do with it. So that was one step in one project I got done. What else have I gotten done? Oh, yes, I got some other steps for this other project for next year that will come to fruition next year. I got some of those steps done. They're the start of the project. So I've got this project that's going to come to fruition next year, and there's stuff I need to pre-plan as I start working on the major part of the project. So there's some parts that have to be pre-planned for later steps, and then there's other parts that I can actually start working on and start completing those steps that get towards our main goal at the end. But can't tell you about the project right now, but just know that it is underway and some steps have been taken. So Finish It Friday is all about making sure that when you leave the office on Friday, whatever your office space is, be it the dining table, be it another room in your house, be it in an actual office, that your plate is clear for the weekend. So you're not sitting there going, oh, I forgot to do this. Oh, dang, I'm going to have this, and you start thinking about things at work. Yeah, no. When we were living in LA, we got introduced to Finish It Friday, and we used to go down and meet at a bar a bar that would also have a restaurant attached to it, or a bar where you could order food, and we could sit there and eat and just celebrate the fact that we're done for the week. And it was really cool. It was a cool networking thing that we got to go to, and just to sit down and chat with everybody else. And we talked about our projects we got done that week. We had a celebration. One place that we went to was a sushi place. I don't eat raw fish. I don't like cold rice. So I'm not really a sushi person, but they had other stuff on their menu that I could eat, which was okay. But we met at a sushi place for a while, and then what happened there? I think we got too big for them. We had to go somewhere else. But we had some really good Finish It Friday meeting in person Finish It Fridays when we were living in LA. So I've also had some good chats this week with family back home, reconnecting with family back home, and had some good chats with them. So it's been a very eventful week for me this week. I've actually started a new process of keeping track of my time and everything else, and it's been working brilliantly. And although this morning I was up at 4:00, I woke up at 3:00 this morning and I couldn't get back to sleep. So I tossed and turned for a bit, and I thought, screw this, I'm just going to get up. And I had a full day on the help chat today because my friend Kathy is off for her birthday weekend. And so we had a full day. I had a full day on chats, and that was a long day because when I'm on the chat, I can't do any client work because to me it's a conflict. It's getting double paid or whatever it is, but the stuff I work on is for myself, and it's no revenue coming in or anything like that. It's I made a big dent in our book for the book club that we're going to be talking about next week. So we've got we're going to be, and I'm actually listening to this at the moment too. We've got the Traveler's Gift that we're going to be talking about on October the 5th. This is an awesome book. Did I say it was awesome? And I've actually got the physical copy and I have it on audio. And for me being kinesthetic, which is touchy-feely, which is why I have to have the physical thing, and my colored markers and my pens, they're all sitting here. My colored markers here, these are all gel highlight. These are solid highlighters. So if you can, so they're solid things, so they don't bleed through any pages, and they're good on delicate pages because these ones glide very smoothly. And then I have my different colored pens here that I use as well, and I have my little. I haven't been using my flags while I've been reading this. Oops, that one's falling off. Got my thing of flags here as well, but I haven't been using the flags in this book, although when I finish reading it, I'm going to go back and put the flags on the pages where there's stuff that I want to talk about at the book club discussion. And we're going to be meeting at 9 a.m. online, 9 a.m. Pacific online on Saturday, October the 5th. And we're going to be discussing this book. It is totally awesome. Yeah, I probably said that a few times. But the cool part is that because I can listen to it while I read it, I absorb it a lot. I absorb it a lot better. And being kinesthetic, it's all about touchy-feely. So I've got the touchy-feely by having the physical book. I'm also listening to it and I'm reading it at the same time. So I'm engaging as many senses as possible to read this book. And that way, for me, this is how I learn. It works better. I'm somebody who, if you're demonstrating a software program to me, Show me how it works. Watch me do it. Then let me play. I learn better when I get to play, but I have to know what I'm getting into in the first place. It's kind of like that with books. If I can read the book and listen to the audio at the same time, I retain it so much better than if I just read the book or I just listen to the book. So if you struggle with trying to read books and things like that, or retain what you read, and try reading and listening at the same time, you get through books so much faster that way. Because when I listen to the books, I up the speed on the audiobook to match my eye speed on the page, if that makes sense. Simply because if it's going very slow and I'm just having to go across this, I'm going to get very bored very quickly. So I speed up the audiobook to match my eye movements on the page, so I can read. So I'm not able to read ahead on the book. So we're kind of get in sync. So the speed and the sound and the eyes are working together at the same speed. That's what I was trying to get. So making my way through that, we'll have that finished hopefully this weekend. I might get it finished this weekend, which will be awesome. And figuring out some questions I want to ask, things I want to discuss along the way, and I'm going to be curious to see what other people come up with for their discussions on thoughts on different things as we approach because this book's got 7 decisions that determine personal success. So as we discuss each decision, it's going to be interesting to see how people interpret, because this is what I love about reading, is that yes, we're all reading this in the book club, we're all reading this book together, we're reading this book to come back and discuss it. But what's really cool is that when you read a book, is that nobody reads the same book the same way. Everybody gets a different interpretation from the book. Yes, we're all reading this, all the words in the pages are exactly the same, but how we interpret it and how we find the meaning in it and how we find how it applies to us is very different. We all have a different perspective, and we'll have a different point of view on what the book means to us personally, or how we interpret what is written in the book, which is what I love about having book discussions. Because when you're, and I did this with a friend as we read our way through Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. We're reading our way through Think and Grow Rich, and we met every week. Yeah, once we did one chapter a week, and then we'd come together and we would chat and we would talk about it. And a lot of the times, one of us would say, "Oh, I would open it up and we'd go, oh yeah, this paragraph here really hit me because blah 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 blah," and I go off and explain what that paragraph meant to me. And she's like, "Where's that paragraph? I don't remember reading that paragraph. Where's that paragraph?" And then she would go in her book and have a look and go, "Oh, wow." She said, "How did I completely miss that paragraph?" And I was the same way with her. She'd go, "Oh, well, I added this piece." And I go, "What page is that on?" Because we had the same edition. So we were able to go. She goes, "Oh, it's on page 44 or whatever." And I go to page 44 and I go, "Okay, whereabouts is it?" And then I go and I read it again. And I go, "Well, how did I miss that the first time?" Like, that's really powerful stuff in that paragraph. How did I miss that? It's because at the time when we were reading, we were in very different places. And so different things stood out to each of us at a different time. And we read it and interpreted it completely different. And so when we came together to have a discussion about it, it had a completely different meaning to each of us. And we're sort of like, wait, we've kind of now moved past that, and we're now in a different space, and it suddenly makes sense to us. And so like, what the, wait. And that's why I love it when we come together for the book discussions, is that we each have our own perspective on the meaning and on the different meanings on different things, and different things standing out to us and pointing things out. So you still got time to read this or listen to it, because the book to listen to is only like 4.5 hours, I think it is. It's less than 5 hours to listen to the audiobook. And then, of course, if you put it on a little faster, you'll get that done a little quicker. So this is, I'm going to finish that this weekend. I'm going to find a little time. And then I got excited because I got my, how can you get excited over this? Okay, so I got my, I got my little package today. And what is in here? There we go. It's new string for my weed whacker, my trimmer, my weed whacker. Yeah, these little spools here. So I'm excited. I was anybody. I mean, I'm not into gardening or that, and I really don't like yard work, but I do. But I, for some reason, like using the trimmer. So, and last week, when I was doing my lawns and everything else, I looked at this and I thought, why is this not cutting properly? So I stopped it and I turned it up, and it's got a little safety button on it. So you can't turn it on. You have to press a button in before you can press the go button for it to work. So when you've got it upside down, there's no way it can accidentally be turned on or anything. But anyway, I turned it on and it had this much sticking out of the feeder. And I'm like, why is it not? And then I realized, oh, I need to get more of that stuff. So I got my replacement spool thing. There's 3 in this pack. It was like $7 for 3 of these. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. So yeah, so I'm going to get to make my lawns look even better this weekend, because my weed whacker will have a full belly. I mean, who gets excited about weed whacker string? I do. Why? Because if my lawns look good, then the HOA leaves me alone. If they look bad, the HOA starts sending letters to the landlord, and then the landlord says, you're getting charged for these. And I'm like, because they send the bill to the HOA, and the HOA then turns around and says, right, you're getting charged for this because we got this. And I was like, oh. So my lawn looks pretty much okay, but I was out looking at it today and I'm like, it's a little scraggly, but the height of the grass is looking good and it's still looking nice and green. I haven't watered it this week because I had a lot of weed killer on some of the stuff that was outside the lawn area, and I didn't want it to get wet and wash it away. So I just let it sink in and do its thing. And so once I weed whack this weekend, we'll put some more stuff down because there's more weeds that have appeared. I hate the weeds. Yeah, at least I think they're weeds. I think they're weeds. Yeah, I'm not very good at telling the difference between weeds and plants on some of them when they're a certain height. I totally miss the gardening gene. My dad's mum was a very good gardener, and she could grow African violets like crazy. And she had this really cool square front porch area that was 3-sided. So 2 sides from the house, then a third side. And then in that third side had a window that overlooked the street, and you came up the steps on the 4th side. And in that little alcove there, she had these shelves, like 3 or 4 shelves on there that was stepped. And it was just covered in African violets, and she could grow them like crazy. And I never picked up that green thing. My mum and my dad, they have a beautiful, beautiful gardens at their place. And every time I go down there, the gardens look great. And mum texts me almost on a daily basis when we're not together. And most of the time, she's talking about what they did in the garden that day. So they spend a lot of time in the garden doing a lot of stuff, and a lot of time at the they spend a lot of time in the garden doing a lot of stuff. So I'm just like, it looks like people do these beautiful gardens and they look amazing, and I'm like, maybe one day I'll get the hang of it. Maybe one day, we'll see. What else? So with that, what projects did you get finished this week? If you want to come join us in the book club, scan the code up here. We're going to be discussing this book on October the 5th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It only has, hang on. Oh, that's the bibliography. It even has questions in here, which I thought was really cool. So get past the questions. So the actual reading of this is 206 pages. Yeah, 206 pages. That's how many pages are in this book, and it is a really good read. But anyway, with that, I am out of here. Go out, have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and